Not just one, but two large areas of disturbed weather to impact us for the weekend and for the week ahead. Your forecast across the Caribbean and the Bahamas starts right now.
This is Meteo Mundo.
Hi friends, Rusty back here at Meteo Mundo. We're your home for Caribbean weather, and it's very nice to see you on a late Friday. I hope you're doing well. Coming up in this video, we've got two big impactful areas of weather here, bringing showers and storms and a lot of wind to go along with high surf and sea conditions. So we'll talk about where those are moving for the weekend and then look ahead to how these could evolve for next week. We've got your island by island rainfall forecast as well. As always, I'd love to hear from my Meteo Mundo weather community. Let me know where you're viewing from, what the weather has been like. We'll get started. First of all, you can clearly see on this broad satellite lightning data here, this is a big, massive thunderstorms just east of the southeast Bahamas and the Turks and Caicos. We have a developing area of disturbed weather, partly in the Pacific, but partly in the southwest Caribbean. We'll talk about how that will play out. Now, when we take a look at the water vapor imagery here, you can clearly see the cold front that has gone through most of the Bahamas, into Cuba, the Straits of Florida, beginning to get to the Turks and the Caicos, and that's pushing that system off towards the east. But relatively speaking, we have some relatively moisture-laden air, and that's a story here in late December. A lot of lift in the atmosphere and still some good tropical moisture. When we look at the surface analysis, there is that front. So it's through places like Nassau and Freeport and Grand Bahama. So drier air coming into those spots, a bit of a northerly breeze. It's going to cool off. Ahead of it, we still have the moisture. And it's been a very active day through a lot of the Antilles, both greater and lesser. And again, developing rain here in the southwest side of the Caribbean as well. Again, you're looking at the numbers on your screen, and those are wind gusts in miles an hour. So we'll get into what's been going on right now. This was the area that even now still has the potential to develop a mid-level rotation and become a subtropical storm. Now, the chance isn't significant, but you can clearly see the amount of instability in the atmosphere. That's a ton of lightning here, balled up. It is moving away from the southeast Bahamas and the Turks and Caicos. Now, earlier in the day, it did skirt places like the Acklins and Mayaguana and just north of Turks and Caicos and places like Grand Turk. But again, if you live in those areas, you look up to the north and to the east, obviously it's some active weather there. So as this accelerates away, again, we could get a spin up to get going in the mid levels of the atmosphere. Now, you can also see that moisture is returning to the southwest Caribbean, and we actually have winds in the mid levels of the atmosphere moving from southwest to northeast. Well, guess what that's done? Kind of in between the two systems, it has flared up some really healthy showers and storms today across the Dominican Republic and Haiti, and they're really active at the hour. This is a spot that I am concerned about, the opportunity for some flooding rains. You can see, and it's not just rain, it's lightning from Puerto Plata, Santiago de los Caballeros, Samana, La Romana, Punta Cana, a few showers and storms near Santo Domingo, and this is really just picking up and proliferating late on this Friday. There are some flood advisories and just some excessive rain advisories for portions of the Dominican Republic. Always check in with your local officials and government. But the bottom line is that some localized flooding is possible with this late on this Friday. Several inches of rain could fall, 2 to 4 inches, 50 to 100 millimeters. And it's just a spot where if you look back to your south, there's more moisture coming in. So we're just kind of in this envelope of very, high lift in the atmosphere and a lot of moisture to stream off some of this heavier rain. It's been a very breezy day across Puerto Rico and the U.S. and British Virgin Islands. Some of this moisture is beginning to now get into the western and the central sides of Puerto Rico. And it's been a very wet time across Puerto Rico. Several of you have commented in the last several videos how wet it has been with some localized flooding there. What do you say we take a look at the live radar out of Puerto Rico? So we'll flip that switch on for you right now. There is that heavy rain across eastern Dominican Republic, across the Mona Passage. You have some really decent showers right now just south of Puerto Rico, scattered in nature across the U.S. and British Virgin Islands, but relatively drier at this point in time. I would expect that some of this moisture is going to move off towards the east, so especially in the western sides of Puerto Rico for the remainder of this Friday. Aguadilla, Mayaguez, and over towards the Alco areas, western coastline, maybe even up towards Arecibo. certainly the opportunity that some of this more persistent rain gets into your area. So if you live in these spots, let me know in the comment section below what's been happening. But again, it's just very active weather here for late December and very moisture-laden air as well. All right, back out to the big picture here. We'll put this back into motion for you guys and get going. Now, it's been a breezy but slightly quieter day in most of the Lesser Antilles for today. And again, look at these winds. St. Bart's, right around a 30-mile-an-hour wind gust. There's high surf and high sea advisories up for portions of the Lesser Antilles. Also, rip current risk and high surf advisories for the northern sides of Puerto Rico and the Virgin Islands as well. Moisture is not as concentrated today across the remainder of the island chain, but has there been a few downpours? Absolutely. And again, a lot of wind. Guadalupe, again, a passing shower possible. Same thing for Dominica. Starting to see a few showers kind of crop up right over Martinique. You can see those clouds just kind of sticking around. St. Lucia's had some pretty breezy conditions. Barbados, it's more about the swells than anything. So some rain advisories in effect. Watch out for some passing showers. We had some heavier rain down in Trinidad yesterday. It did. There was an alert for that. That has now been discontinued, but again, still some moisture in this area, and some of that is coming back off of the mainland as we go deep into this Friday. Can't rule out an isolated shower across Nueva Esparta. It'll be a mainly dry afternoon for the ABC Islands, but again, very windy. Curacao had a 31-mile-an-hour wind gust here just a couple of hours ago, and here's our secondary area of disturbed weather. We talked about this. Moisture-laden air is beginning to come up from the Pacific across Panama and Costa Rica, and it's going to sit here. There's going to be some very heavy rainfall in these areas, and then eventually it's going to stream up towards the north. But in general, you can clearly see that the pattern and the fetch of moisture is pulling it from the Pacific across the Yucatan, Mexico in general, and portions of Central America. And that's going to bring some rain to our areas here. Places like Utila and Roatan and Guanaja, the northern sides of Honduras. These are some areas we'll get into in the forecast that really could see some localized heavier rain, where outlying areas, even towards Belize and Nicaragua, may be relatively quiet. I mean, there might be some heavier rain from time to time, but there could be a spots of some locally heavy rainfall. My friends in Jamaica, it's been a relatively nice day. We might see a few showers on the south coast, even near Kingston and Hayes and places like Treasure Beach here as we go through the remainder of the afternoon, but they're going to be pretty spotty in nature. We'll talk about your forecast coming up. Quiet day so far in the Cayman Islands. Let's get into the video. And friends, again, very important to continue to produce this content, and hopefully it's quality content that you're getting something out of. And we need your support. To do that, thank you for liking this video. It's a very simple thing to do, but it helps out the channel more than you know. Thank you for subscribing to Meteo Mundo if you haven't as of yet. Again, we're very close to 50,000 subscribers. Would like to get there in short order. Thank you for sharing this with your family and friends. Memberships are another way to support the channel. They're just 99 cents a month. Super thanks and other ways that you can find to support us in the video description below. So now we're going to get into what's going to be happening over the weekend. We'll look at the island by island rain chance, and then especially talk about how this system is going to evolve, because as nasty as this is, this should be pulling away from the area. Now, it could still bring some wind and rain up towards Bermuda, and they could have some active weather over the weekend, and it's a very common theme for Bermuda this time of the year to have a lot of wind and some quick moving showers. But again, you can just clearly see that this moisture laden air is now kind of encompassed in the central part of our area. So the first thing I actually want to look at is going to be the wind profile fields here over the next couple of days. And we'll talk about how that's going to interact and kind of change how the moisture is going to be playing out. Generally speaking, the further north that you go here, you're going to be a little bit drier in the short term. Again, that front has come through, and again, it'll take just a minute for the wind fields to load up here over the weekend. But for our friends in the northern and northwest Bahamas, it'll be very nice weather, very comfortable weather over the weekend. Eventually, our winds are going to turn more out of the east. And by the way, these pinks get you back up to 25-mile-an-hour sustained winds. Guess what that means? Small craft advisories are in effect. I would again not want to be venturing into the exposed waters of the Atlantic. Small craft should be very cautious about where you're going to be going over the weekend. Obviously, the shelter locations are better, but the winds are lighter right now. But by late Sunday and into especially Monday, look at those winds begin to crank back in across the Abacos and Bimini and Nassau and Eleuthera and all the way back down to the southeast Bahamas and the Turks of the Caicos. So again, behind our front, lighter winds, drier air to start the weekend, and by late Sunday and into Monday, boy, those winds really do freshen up. But it's a clear, you can clearly see, by the way, on this, if I just zoom this out a little bit more, that there is actually a surface reflection of this mid-level low that'll be developing and moving away. And again, it's probably not even going to be a subtropical storm, but thankfully it's moving out of our area because that's going to be a big ball of rain and storms and a lot of wind. Now, on the tail end of this, guess what happens? As that low tracks to the north, initially, the winds here in the greater and the lesser Antilles start to swing out of the south. Guess what? That pulls in even more moisture. So now rain chances will stay high for places like San Juan and Santo Domingo and the U.S. and British Virgin Islands and the northern side of the lesser Antilles, Leeward Islands in general. Our easterlies will continue and again, kind of swing a little bit more out of the south for a brief time, especially up here. But generally speaking, from about Guadeloupe south, they're mainly going to be easterlies. They'll be fresh across the rest of the Caribbean through the ABC Islands. And we'll start to also see a surface reflection here kind of beginning to develop. The interesting thing is that over the weekend, the winds will still mainly be out of the north. So the air, relatively speaking, for Jamaica and the Cayman Islands and most of Central America at the surface will be dry. But again, at the mid-levels of the atmosphere, moisture being pulled in across the Pacific will still promote some showers. If the winds were more southerly at the surface here, we would be talking about a lot more excessive rainfall. But here, Panama and Costa Rica, notice the wind fields are a lot lighter. Those are the areas where the rain could sit and produce some excessive rain over the next few days. So what does it look like when we put this into motion as far as the rainfall goes? Again, for late December, this is a pretty darn active pattern. Here comes our mid-level low moving away, all right? What's left behind, though, is still lift and moisture. So guess what? Rain chances will begin to return even higher for the southeast Bahamas, Turks and Caicos. They're going to stay high for Haiti and the Dominican Republic. We'll get a few more scattered showers returning to Cuba. Rain chances will go up a bit over Jamaica. I don't want to oversell it over the weekend. I think we're going to have many dry hours in locations, but you can start to see some of that moisture coming back across the island. So Kingston and Ocho Rios and Port Antonio and Montego Bay and Negril, we'll have a few shower chances here. Same thing for the Cayman Islands. They'll be relatively scattered in nature, though, a few downpours here or there. We'll start to get wetter as you get east. So the Dominican Republic, Haiti, the U.S. and the British Virgin Islands. Look, the rain's going to be scattered. There's nothing that's going to be extremely concentrated, meaning that it's not going to be an all-day rain, but this could add up to some fairly significant rain in a few spots, and locally heavy downpours and some isolated flooding can't be ruled out. And by the way, this is the forecast that sticks around as we get closer to Christmas as well. So very active pattern here for our friends in Puerto Rico and the Virgin Islands. Same situation for Anguilla and Antigua and Barbuda, St. Bart's and Saba, St. Eustatius, Montserrat areas as well, down towards Guadeloupe. It'll become a little bit more scattered for Dominica and Martinique, St. Lucia, St. Vincent and the Grenadines and Barbados. Again, marine interest should keep in mind that there'll be some long period swells to go along with some scattered showers. But the rain chance here will be a little bit lower. But again, is it going to be completely dry? Absolutely not. And again, Trinidad and Tobago will run into a few showers, as will portions of South America, Nueva Esparta, and about a 20% chance for rain the next few days over the ABC Islands. Now we get back off towards the west. And again, we're going to look at this area more closely coming up in just a minute, but you can clearly start to see this moisture really beginning to develop and a large field of rain beginning to expand. As I mentioned, despite the fact that we have relatively dry air at the surface, we are going to start to see some pockets of heavier rain develop, especially along the northern coastline of Honduras. And it's interesting because I promise you, the GFS and the European models are both very concentrated here. Places like San Pedro Sula, La Ceiba, Utila, Roatan, and Guanaja, scattered rain for Guatemala and portions of Belize. For Belize City, believe it or not, probably not nearly as much rain compared to Roatan and Guanaja. And the further north that you go, you're going to get into some drier air, but some passing showers for Cancun and Cozumel. So this is what it looks like island by island. Again, just really low rain chances overall, especially in the northwest Bahamas over the weekend. Slightly higher central and southeast, but not much. Turks and Caicos, up to a 30% chance. It's isolated rain for Cuba as well. Cayman Islands, just a few showers, but again, would not expect there to be a lot of rain as we get into Monday. Belize City, a 40% chance for tomorrow, Sunday, and Monday will be a 30% chance. And again, Cancun and Cozumel will be slightly dry. Jamaica's rain chances, 20% chance tomorrow, 30 Sunday and Monday. Might favor the northern coastline just a little bit more. The Dominican Republic and Haiti's rain chances is going to just keep it high, right? 60% chance every day. There'll be pockets of heavier rain. Again, the northern coastline will have a slightly better chance to accumulate more compared to the southern coast. Puerto Rico, 50% chance tomorrow, 40 Sunday, and we're back to a 60 on Monday. U.S. and British Virgin Islands stay at a 50% chance. Bermuda's rain chances are pretty darn good. 50 tomorrow with some wind, and then a 30% chance Sunday and Monday with more wind. Anguilla, a 50% chance over the next 3 days. St. Kitts and Nevis, 50 over the weekend, a 40 on Monday. For my friends in San Juan, a 50% chance for scattered showers tomorrow, 40 Sunday, 60 Monday, but not much better Christmas Eve. And on Christmas itself, who is this? Old St. Nick creeping over the Wednesday forecast. Just keeping a close eye on things, right? You know, 21, 22, 23, 24. Yeah. Okay. Just want to make sure I have my dates right. Antigua and Barbuda, 40% chance on Saturday and Sunday, 50 on Monday. Montserrat, 40% chance for showers the next couple days, a little bit better chance for tomorrow. Guadeloupe, 40 to 50. It's the same situation here. Scattered showers across these areas, just slightly drier air. St. Lucia, St. Vincent, and the Grenadines. There's no big concentration of rain in these spots, but these easterlies will continue to pump in some moisture. Barbados and Grenada and Trinidad and Tobago, slightly lower. But again, we've had heavy rain in Trinidad as just an example. Even Barbados has had some heavy rain, and maybe your location has as well. You can certainly let me know in the comments section below. Suriname and Guyana, 30 to 40% chance the next few days. And again, just a few showers for Nueva Esparta and the ABC Islands. Again, marine interest. Look what happens. Another huge push of north winds will be coming in. So we'll stay with relatively active sea patterns here. Now, this is over Sunday. Look at, again, your 10 to 12 foot waves coming across the Bahamas, portions of the Turks and Caicos, northern sides of the Lesser and Greater Antilles as well. Oh, the winds will be a little bit quieter here in the central and the western sides of the Caribbean, but I am, again, concerned about this spin up and what some of the localized seas could do out of that. So when we talk about, again, the ocean temperatures, and this graphic this time of the year is not so much about, hey, look at the support for a tropical system because sea surface temperatures are outrageous, but please note that through most of the Caribbean and touching portions of the Western Atlantic as well, sea surface temperatures are still 27, 28, but especially 29, 30, close to 30 degrees Celsius in a few spots. You just got to be above 80 degrees to support tropical development, or about 27 degrees Celsius, 80 degrees Fahrenheit. But this is more talking about the moisture-laden air and the lift in the atmosphere and the energy and the instability that could still be created here in the Caribbean. So we're just talking about this graphic kind of supporting higher, heavier rain chances. So here we go with that. Let's bring it back out to the big view, and let me expand this out for a few more days as well. So we'll bring it out to, next Friday. What do you say? We'll go out to the 27th. So again, the two big features, this one in the short term will bring some rain, as we've mentioned, across Haiti, Dominican Republic, Puerto Rico, Virgin Islands, Lesser Antilles, moves away. Then we look down here to the Southwest Caribbean. It's been a very active part of our forecast here, hasn't it, lately, and how this evolves. First of all, I don't see this moving quickly or moving very much. So this is going to have some direct impacts to Panama and Costa Rica and portions of Nicaragua and Honduras, and we'll see how far north it goes from there. But that's not the only moisture plume, if you will, that'll be feeding in. There's a secondary one here coming through Mexico that actually move up towards South Florida, portions of Cuba, maybe the Cayman Islands, and Jamaica as well. Those areas will kind of be in between, but there is the opportunity here, again, for some very wet weather in these spots, and then a little bit more rain for the Cayman Islands and Jamaica for midweek. But again, just relatively speaking, here's now Wednesday and into Thursday and Friday, central and the western sides will stay relatively active. Now, as far as getting a true spin up, not expecting that to happen. This is the European ensemble member, right? So we'll start off with, first of all, what it has, and I'll let this loop through, and we'll talk about this in a second. But first of all, here, it does still have a very broad surface low that moves away, but it's gone. Then we look back down here as we get into our Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. And yes, there's some lowering of the surface, pressures and a little bit of a strengthening of the wind field. But again, that more than anything is just going to be some abundant moisture that's going to be expanding. So I am concerned about some of the heavier rainfall potentials there. There goes our mid-level rotation with the rain associated with that. Watch the rain begin to really fill back in these spots. Again, we have this connection with the southwest winds pulling in a lot of rain. Couple of things to note about this. Extremely heavy rainfall likely through portions of Central America. There is that bullseye over Honduras. That moisture field should feed back into portions of the Dominican Republic and Haiti. We could also see a stalled front mid to late next week that could bring some very heavy rain to the far northern side of the Bahamas or stay just to the north. But you get the idea that over the next 7 days, there's a lot of red on this map. 2, 4, 6 inches of rain, 50, 100, even 150 millimeters of rain. What does it look like on the GFS model through early on Christmas? As a matter of fact here, I'm going to, just so we get through all of Christmas, I'll take it out towards 10 o'clock on Christmas Day. This will give us a better idea. So let's start off in the southwest side of the Caribbean. If we're going to get lucky, the heaviest rain will stay offshore. All right, come on, work with me here. Let's see, I might have to go to this. I'm trying to get this thing to give us our, I don't think I have to loop it up. There we go. You guys know that this pointer system sometimes is very, very finicky. But anyway, I wanted to put on some of this rain. You get the idea that we've got 6+ inches of rain that could fall near the coastline of Costa Rica and Panama. So I'll be watching that area closely. We follow that heavier rain up through portions of the coastal areas of Central America. And once again, here is this bullseye, right? Right on the Honduras coastline and the Bay Islands, for several inches of rain. 3, 4, 5+ inches of rain, La Ceiba, Utila, Roatan, Guanaja. Then you get up towards Dangriga and Belize City, and it looks to be a lot less than that, right? Maybe a 1/2 inch of rain. So it's very interesting as far as that goes. Across the Cayman Islands, it'll be some scattered rain. You know, best chance for rain in the Cayman Islands is going to be more than likely Tuesday, Wednesday, maybe early Thursday. Grand Cayman, 1.5 inches. Cayman Island, up to about 1 inch of rain in between, though, many dry hours and locations. There is your northeast side there through Jamaica, where places like Ocho Rios and Port Antonio could get more rain than Kingston, and then other areas to the south and to the west. But even the Grill in this scenario, Lucy, Montego Bay, could be over 1 inch of rain. Follow that moisture plume into the Dominican Republic, where once again, excessive rainfall is possible in some spots on a local and daily basis. It'll be something I'll be monitoring, but again, several inches of rain likely in these spots. We can see some heavier rain across portions of Puerto Rico. And again, is all of this going to fall over land? Absolutely not. Is there that possibility? You're darn right there's going to be. We get scattered in nature through the Lesser Antilles. The windward sides of the Lesser Antilles continue to favor the opportunity for a few inches of rain. Again, it's very easy calculation here. For 1 inch of rain, it's 25 millimeters. So 1 inch of rain is 25, 2 inches is 50. Pretty simple as that. And again, back into the Bahamas, just so my friends in the Bahamas can see again, boy, look at that. You got 6, 8 inches of rain. That's just, you know, following that mid-level rotation. But thankfully, it's not going to fall over us. And there is this little feature that might just stall off of the east coast of Florida. But right now, both the GFS and the European have it just north of Walker's Key. I'll be monitoring that for you guys. And again, notice that the GFS begins to pick up on some of this moisture coming back. Maybe you're spending Christmas in Cancun. Look, I think overall it's going to be fine, but we could get some rain in Cancun as we get closer to Christmas. And I'll be watching that for you guys as well. You want to send me a picture or video, it's myMediaMundo@gmail.com. Help me tell the story here on the channel. Again, giving me your name, of course, where the picture or video is from, a little description would help as well. You'd like to also support us across social media. You can do that, Instagram, TikTok, X, Facebook, and there is our email address as well. As always, you have a specific question about the forecast, you can drop it in the comment section below. I'm happy to answer that. And while you're down there, again, a very gentle nudge to like and subscribe to the channel. Friends, have a great rest of your Friday. I'm back soon with the latest. Until then, you take care. I'll see you soon right here at Meteo Mundo.